You already know what you have to do to grow your business, but for some reason you don't do the work. In this video, I will show you how to actually do the work and fall in love with doing it. But why you should listen to me? Because I went from getting no clients, being this lazy guy, procrastinating, not doing any work, to building a six-figure consulting business in just a few years. And the reason why I did this is because I fell in love with the work. Now I love it. I enjoy this painful work. I know the work is hard. The work is painful. I went through a lot of suffering to build my business. I'm not going to say it is easy thing, but I figure out a way how to love this pain and how to actually do the work. And you're probably going through the same thing right now. You find the work hard, you find it painful, you don't want to do it, even though you know it's important and you know what you have to do. But again, you don't do it for some reasons. The promise in this video is that I will teach you how to actually do the work and how to fall in love with doing the work. But here is a quick introduction for those of you who don't know me. I'm Berk and I help coaches scale their businesses without paying for any ads or building website. The best part is that they don't pay unless I help them scale. And if you're curious how I help them, you can click the first link in the description. But here's what we'll cover in today's video. How to change your behavior. I will show you the most effective way to change a habit. Which is better, goals or systems? I will show you how to create both of them. How to build amazing habits of you doing the work. And at the end, I will show you the 4 laws of behavior change and how you can make these long-lasting changes so you can fall in love with the work. But I will show you this only if you stay to the end of the video. I recently reread Atomic Habits and I have been having a great time applying all of these concepts in my business. And I figure I would just condense the book into a video for all of you so that you can actually apply to your business, get the results you want, fall in love with the work, and get the results that you want. So let's talk about how you can change your current behavior. There are 3 things that you should know. Outcomes is the first thing. Changing your results. That's what you want to do. Example, making money. Most of the goals that you set are at this level, at outcome level. Like you just want to change the result. Right now, you don't make money, you want to change the outcome of you making money. The second thing to change your behavior is processes, which is changing the habits and the systems. And most of the habits you build live in this level. And later on, I will show you how to build exact systems of you doing the work to build these processes that will help you achieve the outcomes you want. And the last thing, I would just say maybe the most important thing is identity. This is when you change your beliefs. Example, when you change your worldview or your self-image. Most of the beliefs, assumption and biases you hold are associated with this level. If you don't make changes on your identity, you never build processes and achieve the outcomes that you want. That's how you basically change the behavior. Change the identity, build processes, and achieve the outcome that you want. And the most effective way to change a habit is to focus not on what you want to achieve, not the outcome, but on who you wish to become. When a habit becomes a part of you, it is just motivating you and you do the work. This means the process of doing the habit is the reward and you want to engage in it just because you enjoy it. The fundamental change that you want to make is within your identity. In a nutshell, to permanently change your habits, you must also change who you are. And to change your identity, you must do a habit continuously. Identity comes out of habits. Right now, I have formed an identity for myself that I'm this hardworking person. And whenever I don't work, I feel bad. Previously, in the past, I felt bad when I was working because that's not me. That was not me. I was not used to doing the work. I was not used to doing the hard things. But now my new identity loves doing the work. My new identity loves doing the hard work, the painful work, the work that gets me results. And I will just share with you this quote from Charlie Munger. To get what you want, you have to deserve what you want. The world is not yet a crazy place to reward undeserving people. Which means we should not work towards the goal. We should work towards becoming the person capable of achieving this goal. Let's say you want to run a marathon. If you want to run a marathon, you don't work towards running the marathon. That's not what you're working towards. You work towards the person who is capable to run a marathon. For example, if you're 100 kilograms overweight right now, you barely move, you don't work towards this goal. You work towards becoming a person, for example, let's say a 70 kilogram person with a capacity to run a marathon. And the same applies in business. You don't work towards making $10,000 a month. No, you will never do that. You work towards becoming the person who can achieve the goal of $10,000 a month. And this person has different skill sets that you have to build. And I hope now that you understand what this means and how to make like this change that you're supposed to do. But the best principle to use here is 1% better every day. For us to grow drastically, it does not take a tons of changes from day to day. No, that's not what it takes. I'm not saying to you, just immediately start working 12 hours a day. It's not possible. You start small and get better 1% every day. If we can consistently get only 1% better every single day, we will grow exponentially over time. But this has a caveat to this, because the same applies with your bad habits. If we get only 1% worse every day for a year, we will have dramatically declined by the end of that period. So my idea here and what I'm trying to say is that when you're building these new habits, new identity, you want to focus on the progress, not the end goal. And when I say progress, not making like this huge progress at once, small and steady progress. And this is how it looks like when we show it on a diagram, the power of tiny gains. If you're just 1% better every day, this means by the end of the year, you will be 37.18% better. But if you're 1% worse, this means you are 0.03% worse. The effect of your habits, it multiplies as you repeat them. They seem to make a little difference at any given day, but when we zoom out, when we look back 2, 5, or maybe 10 years, you can see like the huge change we have, and the graph has this exponential curve to it. That's why we have to play the long-term game. And as I told you in the beginning, we will discuss the difference between goals and systems and which one is better. Because when we're working towards something, there are always two major components to it: a goal and a system. Our goal is the target we want to hit. Let's say the amount of money we want to earn, the weight we want to lose, the pages we want to write, and so on and so on. Our systems are the actual processes we need to follow to reach this goal. For example, if my goal is just to make money, my system is what I need to do to get there. This is going to be the business model I use, the strategies I apply, and etc. But we often put a lot of attention on our goal, but not enough on the systems we need to get there. That's a huge mistake. I see 90% of people, we do this. And this is the main reason why many people fail to accomplish the goal that they set. Goals are good for setting a direction. Don't get me wrong, they're important. But systems are what we need to make meaningful progress towards our goal. A goal without a system, I would say, is just a wish. Achieving a goal is a momentary change. Remember this. Let's say I set a goal to make $10,000 in 3 months. I might reach this goal, but there is also a good chance that I will immediately go back to zero again if somehow I'm able to achieve this goal. Why? Because I have no systems. Systems solve a problem for good. If I like working, it would be much harder for me to be broke again, because my identity has now become built around being a successful businessman. That's why, again, I want to repeat it. We don't work towards the goal. We work towards becoming the person who can achieve this goal. And the whole idea of this video is to help you fall in love with the work. Because when you fall in love with the work, what happens? You achieve your goal with ease and you never fall back to your zero state again. Systems make you fall in love with the process rather than just the product. That's why systems are more important than goals. This way, you aren't just waiting to make $10,000 a month to be happy. No, you are able to enjoy life before and after you get to your goals. This doesn't mean that we don't have to set goals. I want to repeat this again. This doesn't mean that we should not use goals to motivate us. No, it just means that we focus more on the processes that we need so we can hit those goals. In a nutshell, processes are better than goals. You should focus mainly on systemizing the process and making the process something part of your identity. Otherwise, there is a good chance that you revert right back to where you were in the beginning. And now I will show you how to build amazing habits. Specifically, the habit of you doing the work, because that's what this video is all about. Because I assume you already know what you are supposed to do to grow your business or to achieve what you want. This video is just to show you how to build these habits, how to build the processes, so you can achieve the goals that you want. And any habit can be broken down into a feedback loop of 4 steps. First is the cue, second is the craving, the third one is a response, and the last one is a reward. So let's break this down individually. The first thing is a cue. This is what triggers your brain to initiate a certain behavior. This is a piece of information that predicts a reward. The second thing is craving. This is the motivational force behind every habit. You don't just crave the habit itself. No. You crave what you get at the end. For example, I'll just give this example with smokers. Smokers don't just crave smoking a cigarette. Never. They crave the feeling of relief the cigarette provides. We desire the end result. The third thing when it comes to building an amazing habit is response. This is the actual habit you perform as a thought or action. Whether a response happens or not depends on how motivated we are by the end of the craving and how hard doing this habit is. And of course, the last thing is the reward. The end goal of each habit, simply said. This is the dopamine hit we get when our craving is satisfied. A good reward will teach us to do an action in the future. A mediocre or a bad reward will teach us not to do this action in future. And this is the habit loop with a mouse, for example. The cue is, let's say, the mouse wanting to eat or feeling hunger. Then the routine can be the mouse going, let's say, to the freezer to grab some food. But to go to the freezer, the mouse should go through a labyrinth, through some turns, through some rooms. It requires some effort. Then the action is the mouse eating, and the reward is that it satisfied the first need of being hungry and it gets dopamine. Now, when you know how habit works, like habit works super simply, I want to remind you, cue, craving, response, reward, you can build a habit, a good habit, where you do the work. For example, the cue is, let's say, a time. Let's say it is 8 a.m. and it's like some sort of trigger that your brain initiate you doing, let's say, cold calling, for example. The craving is that by the end of the habit, you book sales calls and you make money for your business. The response is you grabbing the phone and doing calls. And of course, the reward is the moment when you book calls or the moment where you get money in your Stripe account. That's how simply you can build a habit. First of all, just decide what is one cue that will remind you about doing this habit. For me personally, when I started with my coaching business, I hated outreaching the most. Was the most painful task. I just didn't want to do this task. So what I did, every time when I wake up, I usually wake up at 6 a.m. I have just a small morning routine. So at 6:20 or 6:30 was my cue. I had an alarm, and the alarm said outreach. This was my trigger, so my brain can initiate the behavior. What was the behavior that I initiated? Getting the phone, sending messages to people. I made it super simple because I built a system where I just copy pasted messages, so I don't need to think about it. Like, I decreased the friction of doing the habit, and then the reward was me booking sales calls. And that's how I actually felt in love with the work. I made it super simple. I built a habit around this. That's how you achieve long-lasting results. You cannot rely on motivation 90% of the time. No. Reward and willpower is a resource that I would say goes down, or it's limited. But when you build a habit, when you make it automatic, you literally fall in love with the work because you don't think about it, you just do it. And this is the same principle you want to do, to fall in love with the work, do the work you're supposed to do, and get the results that you want. And I'll share with you the 4 laws of how you can make this habit change that you want to do. The laws are to make it obvious, make it easy, and make it an attractive habit. And of course, I will show you how each of them work. The first law is to make it obvious. Our goal with this law is to create cues for good habits. We need to build a trigger to get us doing something. Without a trigger, you'll never do the action. Here are some actionable steps on how you can do this. For example, you can create a habit scorecard. For me personally, I created a habit scorecard where I tracked how many messages I sent. And every time I sent a message, I would just tick this habit tracker, and I felt reward. I felt good because I was making progress. You can also use habit stacking, which means you do one positive or good habit, then you do another one. For example, when I woke up, I did some yoga or stretching just to get the blood flowing. Then I will just do my hygiene. And the third habit I did was messaging. I stacked positive habits so I can use this reinforcement. And then the next thing is just to design your environment. I would say this is the best thing you can do, because if you're in the wrong environment, you might not do the work. So what I did, I had my phone ready here on my desk whenever I was about to work, so I don't have to think about it. I knew what I was supposed to do. This is like what many fitness coaches tell to their clients, is to prepare their track suit the night before, to put it near the bed, so whenever they wake up, their environment is just designed for success. And you can be creative and figure out a way to design your environment so you can make your trigger obvious. Because without this trigger, without these cues, you never do the habit, therefore you never do the work. The second law is to make it attractive. Yes, you heard it right, to make it attractive. Our goal with this law is to create an actual craving to do this habit or the work that we're supposed to do. If you despise doing something, it's pretty fucking hard to stay consistent with it. Let's be honest. But here are some ways on how you can fix that and actually enjoy the idea of doing these new habits. You can create some sort of motivational routine. I will share with you a strange woo-woo hack, but it actually works. You can, for example, have maybe a t-shirt or a hat, or maybe some sort of subject that you want to use. And whenever you grab this subject, you create this reminder or motivational routine so you can actually do it. Like I always remind my clients whenever they take sales calls, because they tend to have this friendly conversation, they don't guide the conversation. I tell them before each call, either get a physical hat or just take an imaginary doctor hat whenever you're about to do the work, so you can make the habit attractive and remind yourself of doing this. Or maybe you can join a culture where your desired behavior is normal. This is why I always recommend people to join some sort of communities or coaching programs. For example, in our coaching program, at the end of every day, we send AOD, which is end of the day report, where everyone says how many messages they sent, how many calls we booked, and we build this healthy competition so we can incentivize people, push them, and motivate them to do the work. In our culture, the desired behavior is normal. Like the new norm is messaging, creating content, booking sales calls, closing people. So people are more likely to do the work. And this is how they can make the habit attractive. The third law is to make it easy. I would say it is a really important one. Our goal with this law is to make the habit as easy as possible. And here are a few actionable steps that you can do to make the habit as easy as possible. The first thing is to reduce friction. This is from physics, a law that I got. Whenever there is a friction in you doing something, the less likely you're going to do this. So whenever you reduce friction, the most likely you're going to do the habit. For example, if there is a lot of friction between you and the work that you're supposed to do, you will not do it. The same is with your sales, actually, a small tip I want to give you here. If you have a lot of steps, if there is a lot of friction, people will not book sales calls with you. They will not go through your, let's say, funnel. They will not go through your videos because it is work. We as humans are lazy, so you want to reduce the friction between you and doing the habit. Again, the same thing as in the previous law. You want to prime the environment and make it environment friendly so you can actually do the work. Example, you can remove some things that are distracting you. Like the biggest one is your phone. If it distracts you from doing the work, put it in a different room. Put it on an airplane mode. Prime your environment for success to make it easy when it comes to doing the work. Or you can just use this 2-minute rule, or maybe I'll recommend you using this 3, 5 or 10-second rule from Mel Robbins. Just count back, let's say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, boom, you just do the work. You don't think for any moment about not doing the work. Or you can just automate your habits. That's why I said systems and processes are better than goals. Because systems, they just give you an exact process that you follow when it comes to doing the work. I personally just built a system for messaging where I just built what I have to do. For example, first thing, open Messenger, find prospects, send this message, send that message. Literally, I had to just do it. It was super automated. I didn't put any thoughts in the habit like of this work I was supposed to do. So I just did it. And I do the same thing with my clients now. I just give them exact SOPs, standard operating procedures. They have them. They just need to do them to get the results that they want. And you can do something similar with the work you're supposed to do. And the last and the fourth law is to make it satisfying. This is how you can get this, feeling when you finish the habit that you want to implement. You want to make it satisfying and have some sort of a reward. Here are some tips. First thing is to use a reinforcement. Like the way I did this personally, I rewarded myself with something good whenever I did the hard work. Like, let's say if you're a coffee lover and the first thing that you do when you wake up is drink coffee, don't do that. You can just put this task or this activity of you drinking coffee when you do the hard work. For example, I used to drink coffee whenever I finished a deep work session or whenever I sent a certain amount of messages. This is how I rewarded myself for doing the hard work. So I was excited. I was looking to get this coffee when I do the work. But I only got the reward when I did the work. And you can find like something similar. Maybe a reward of you let's say going outside, going for coffee, let's say maybe a candy. I know candies are bad for you, but this is just an example. Find a reward to make the habit satisfying. So you're looking forward to get this reward from doing the work. You can also use a habit tracker because it shows like the progress that you make, and it's super cool whenever you have this everything ticked in your habit tracker. You feel that you make progress and you feel motivated. And of course, you never want to miss one habit 2 days in a row. Why? Because you build the habit of not doing this work that you're supposed to do. So you want to be super consistent when it comes to doing this. And these are all of the behavior changes, like the laws of behavior changes and how you can apply them. In summary, what we discussed in this video, processes are way better than goals. So you never work towards, let's say, building a $10,000 a month business. You work towards becoming the person who can build this $10,000 a month business. How? By building the right processes and getting the right skill set. You want to change your identity so you can change the habit. If you want to actually do the work, you want to see yourself, you want to build this new identity of a person who enjoys doing this work. This should be your new version. And of course, I showed you the 4 laws of how you can make long-lasting change within your behavior. You want to make it obvious, you want to make it easy, you want to make it attractive, and you want to make it satisfying. If you apply the steps that I just showed you, you can easily build processes and systems for doing the work. Therefore, you can do the work and you can get the results that you want. And of course, if you want to grow a coaching business to $10,000 a month, feel free to click the first link in the description. Actually, it is a sales funnel designed to sell you, but if you're curious on how I can help you, you can check it out. And now go take massive action. And of course, don't forget to leave a like if you found this video helpful.